Let me say something out loud that most people only whisper. Debt can break your spirit, long before it breaks your bank account. And if you're watching this right now with that heavy feeling in your chest, the one where you're afraid to check your phone because it might be a creditor, or you're scared to open your mail because it might be a final notice, I want you to hear this clearly. Bankruptcy is not the end of your life. In many cases, it's the moment your life finally starts breathing again. Now, before the comment section explodes, this video is educational, not legal advice. Every situation is different. Talk to a licensed insolvency trustee in Canada or a qualified bankruptcy attorney in the US before you decide anything. But today, I'm going to do something most people don't do honestly. I'm going to show you the data, the psychology, the real-world upside, and I'm going to tell you a story, an emotional one, about what starting over actually looks like. And yes, we're covering both Canada and the United States because many of you live in both places. Here's the first shocker. In the United States, there were 574,314 bankruptcy filings in the 12-month period ending December 31st, 2025. In Canada, 140,557 consumer insolvency filings were recorded in 2025, consumer proposals plus bankruptcies. That's not a few bad people who made dumb decisions. That's a mass reality of modern life. So if you've been carrying shame, you might be carrying something that was never meant to be yours alone. When people hear the word bankruptcy, they imagine one thing: failure. But the law didn't create bankruptcy to punish people. Bankruptcy exists because economies work better when people have a way to reset after financial shock. Illness, divorce, business collapse, job loss, inflation, interest rate spikes, family emergencies, real life. And the truth is, sometimes your finances don't need another budget hack. Sometimes what you need is a structural reset. Think of it like this. If your house has smoke damage, you don't just spray perfume. You clean, repair, rebuild. Bankruptcy and consumer proposals are not perfumes. They're renovations. Painful, yes, but structured, legal, and often life-saving. Bankruptcy can be the healthiest choice when debt has become a permanent cage instead of a temporary challenge. If your debt is growing faster than your income, or if you're paying interest but the balance barely moves, if one emergency wipes out your whole month, or if collections are calling and wages are being garnished, then bankruptcy isn't giving up. It's choosing reality over denial. Reality-based decisions are how people rebuild. Let's enumerate the advantages clearly, not emotionally, not motivational, mechanically. First, immediate relief. Filing triggers legal protections that stop collection actions. Your nervous system finally calms down. Second, a legal pathway to eliminate eligible debts. Your income stops being swallowed by yesterday. Third, you stop feeding the interest monster. Fourth, a structured process replaces chaos, taking you from panic to a plan. Fifth, protection of essential assets. Sixth, a fresh start effect that research shows can change life trajectories and even lower mortality. Seventh, a platform to rebuild credit faster than assumed. Finally, it prevents generational financial damage by ending the cycle. Now, let's look at the important differences between Canada and the US simplified. In Canada, many choose between bankruptcy and a consumer proposal, a legally binding settlement administered by a trustee. In the US, common pathways include Chapter 7 liquidation or Chapter 13 repayment plans. Note that outcomes vary. Not all cases reach discharge. The data. How common is this really? Let's zoom out. Because when you only look at your own life, shame gets loud. United States total bankruptcy filings. Here are the totals: 2016, 794,960, 2017, 789,020, 2018, 773, 418, 2019, 774,940, 2020, 544,463, 2021, 413,616, 2022, 387,721, 2023, 452,9990, 2024, 508,758, 2025, 574,314. 10-year total, about 6.0 million filings. That's millions of households using a legal reset mechanism. Canada consumer insolvency totals: 2016, 125,878; 2025, 140,457. 10-year total: about 1.2 million consumer insolvency filings. Millions of people. Not moral failures. Financial systems at work. How many bounced back? This is the question everyone asks. And the question shame twists into a weapon. Okay, but do people recover? Let's define bounce back properly. If you mean rich overnight, no. If you mean return to stability, pay bills, rebuild credit, yes. We have evidence. Research shows increased earnings and reduced foreclosure rates. Many see credit score improvements within 12 to 18 months. Most people don't repeat bankruptcy forever. In Canada, repeat filing is around 10%. It's a reset plus new behavior plus time. Let me tell you a story. Her name is Nadia. Nadia is the kind of woman you'd never suspect was drowning. She works hard, but her finances were a war zone. It started small: a car repair, a medical bill, then groceries got expensive. Slowly, her life became a math problem she couldn't solve. She wasn't living anymore. She was managing consequences. The shame was brutal. She stopped going out. She started waking up at 3 a.m., doing numbers in her head like prayer beads. One day, in a grocery store parking lot, she realized she was calculating which basic food to put back. She got a wage garnishment notice, and she broke. But then she booked a consultation. She expected judgment. Instead, she got clarity. They told her, "You're not a bad person. You're in a bad financial structure." Shame says, "I am this." Responsibility says, "I'm going to deal with this." Bankruptcy is responsibility. So Nadia filed. The threat stopped. She rebuilt, not perfectly, but steadily. She slept. She laughed. One day she said, "I thought bankruptcy was the end of my story, but it was the first chapter where I finally told the truth." Bankruptcy isn't always the best tool. In Canada, consumer proposals are often chosen because they can reduce what you owe and stop interest while avoiding full bankruptcy. In Canada, proposals were nearly 80% of consumer insolvencies in 2024. In the US, Chapter 13 functions as a structured repayment system. A legal debt reset is a smart, life-restoring strategy when debt is no longer mathematically survivable. It's not about being lazy or stupid. Phase 1 is stabilizing. Stop the bleeding and track spending. Phase 2 is rebuilding the foundation with a small emergency buffer. Phase 3 is rebuilding credit intentionally through patience. Phase 4 is the most critical, upgrading your financial identity to avoid old traps. If you're watching this with fear, replace it with this: I'm not done. I'm resetting. Because resetting isn't quitting, it's choosing survival.